Some notes on being a good passenger. For one, pick and choose who you ride with. It's great that it's your friend, your brother, your cousin, whoever. If they're a new rider, don't ride with them. Two, it always irritates me when I see girls on the backs of guys' bikes and the guy's wearing like a leather jacket, jeans, boots, and the girl's in a really cute tank top and short shorts and flip-flops. It's just like, you look adorable until you come off the back of that bike. Then you'll be covered in road rash and you'll be considerably less adorable. I mean, I realize that that's something some people just like to do. But the way I see it is, if you ride with somebody, you're trusting somebody else completely. And if you're trusting somebody that much, I mean, it's kind of like saying, well, think of it like this. Guy wants to take you out on a bike. Says don't worry about protection. It's kind of like a guy saying, we don't need to have a condom for sex. I could pull out in time. Well, do you trust his reflexes that much? He might be able to do it 90% of the time, but that other 10% you get kind of screwed, yeah? So, and it only takes once. So when you're actually riding with somebody, I think the main thing is don't freak out. You've made the decision to ride with them. Trust them to know their bike. Trust them to know how to ride with the passenger. If you freak out, it throws them off. And if you're restricting their arms or shoulders, hands, pushing it forward into the handlebars, it can cause all kinds of problems. The other result of freaking out is that you sit up in a curve instead of leaning with them. Well, I know I saw a video about the number one causes of motorcycle crashes are from people braking in curves because the rider freaks out. Well, if you decide to throw off the balance by sitting up in a curve, same kind of thing, you tend to crash. A friend of mine, his advice to all passengers is, put your tits on my back, your chin on my shoulder, and don't move. And really that helps keep you in line with the rider. Another piece of advice is work out some kind of communication system. Have a double tap to the back of the head for that's too fast. Have the rider slap your leg if he's going to accelerate hard or something along those lines. But at the same time, you need to be aware of what the rider's doing. Because sometimes, you need to accelerate quickly and you can't really take your hand off to let somebody else know that you're going to be accelerating quickly. Second time I was on the back of Motoduelist bike here. Stuffed my hands in his pockets of his jacket. And I was really hungover. Don't ride hungover, kids. It's a bad idea. And I leaned up against him and I went to sleep at 90 miles an hour. He said his hands were getting numb because I was leaning so hard against him. Yeah, don't do that. Something else you don't want to do is, if you don't lean into a turn and all of a sudden you realize you're turning and you're not leaning, and then you're like, oh crap, I gotta lean. And you start to lean. It's also a bad idea. Changing up mid-turn is probably the worst thing you can do. When you get a rider who becomes a passenger, quite often they're a shitty passenger. Because they're riding with their style and kind of ignoring their rider's style. When I ride with my boyfriend, he tends to take curves a lot harder than I do. Mostly because I was a newer rider. You could also say his balls are bigger than mine, but considering I don't really have any, I think that's, kind of a moot point. I took him as my passenger once when his arm was still in a sling. because he had broken his collarbone by being hit by an SUV. So he was my passenger, my first and only passenger. And he would see a corner, and he was riding in his style, which is gun it and go crazy fast and lean really hard. And I was riding in my style, which is slow down, go calmly through the corner, you know, very MSF. It threw me off balance when he would start leaning further than me. By the end of the ride, he kind of figured out, okay, I can only lean as far as she's leaning, or else her balance is really thrown off. There's different ways that you ride on different bikes too. Like, we're on a ZX10R right now. I've also ridden on my buddy's concourse and on my friend's Boulevard 750. But I found in really twisty roads, like when we go out to the mountains, it's easiest on the ZX10R, or probably any super sport bike, to just put my hands on the gas tank around him. That way I can brace for deceleration. I'm tucked in for accelerating, and I lean with him no matter what, because he's pushing on either arm, and so it works out really well. And also, if you're absolutely scared shitless, you can just kind of like bare your face in the back of your rider's jacket. I don't know, just relax and have fun.